Welcome back to Movie Summary. Today we are diving into a film called Notes on a Scandal. The movie starts with Barbara sitting on a bench. She narrates to us that people always trusted her with their secrets. But who do I trust with mine? You, only you. Barbara is then driving. She arrives at a school. She is a teacher. She is sitting in her class, telling us it's the first day of a new term. She then looks over the windows as students start arriving. She tells us that in the old days, they confiscated cigarettes, but today it's knives and drugs. Barbara then steps out in this chaos of kids. We are then shown a young girl arriving. Name is Sheba. Minutes later, Barbara starts her class. Then when the bell rings later that day, the students stand up, but she looks at them angry. Then gives them the sign to leave. We are then shown the principal talking to the teachers when Sheba enters. He introduces her as their new art teacher. The principal adds how important art is to their reform of the school. Barbara then gives her report, but the principal is shocked on how short it is. Other teachers give the look. The next day, Barbara is observing as Sheba tries to confiscate a phone from a student. She is having a hard time trying to discipline the students. Stephen, one of the students, takes his shirt off as Barbara tells him to put it back on. He does as Sheba is watching. Days after days, Barbara is observing Sheba as she is making friends with the rest of the staff. One day, the teachers are all in the lunchroom discussing as regular. Barbara gives a lecture to everyone after correcting one of her colleagues. She then goes to Sheba's class. She realizes kids are fighting and Sheba isn't able to stop it. She then bursts in, screams, "Enough," and everyone stops. Sheba seems overwhelmed. Stephen and David, who were fighting, are questioned by Barbara. She wants to know why they were fighting, but Stephen plays dumb. Stephen then reveals it's because David insulted Sheba. He gives a look to Sheba as they go back to class. Sheba then thanks Barbara for her help. Later, Barbara keeps analyzing Sheba as they get to know each other. Sheba wants to really make a change to help this students out of their hard background, but Barbara says that teacher is all about crowd control. Sheba then invites Barbara for lunch at her place. Both women are getting close. Barbara is then getting pampered and arrives for that lunch with some flowers. The door opens and it's Richard, Sheba's husband. Barbara tells him she thought he would be Sheba's age. Sheba says hi and get the table ready, while Barbara meets Polly, Sheba's daughter. Polly asks her why she is so dressed up. She lies that she has an appointment later on. The son then bursts running into Richard's hands. Barbara is then having lunch with them, analyzing them. After lunch, the family is dancing as Barbara is sitting looking at them. They push her to do some dance too. Sheba then receives a call. She then shows Barbara her artist studio. Sheba shares with her that she was so happy to finally get out of the house, get a job at the school, but it's so hard for her to be a teacher. Barbara comforts her and says don't let them sense your anxiety. After hours of talking, Barbara really likes Sheba even more. Later that night, Barbara is so happy to have found a great friend. She seems really obsessed with Sheba. The school Christmas shows then arrives. A teacher comes sit next to Barbara, but she says the seat is for Sheba. Barbara keeps looking around as Sheba seems to be late. She then goes to her artist class. When she looks inside, she sees Sheba getting into action with a guy. The guy then leaves and Barbara realizes it's Stephen, Sheba's student. Barbara is shocked, speechless. Later at home, she sits down speechless. The next day, she calls Sheba, saying she wants to talk to her about Stephen. She says she knows Sheba committed a criminal offense and tells her to meet at 5. They meet and Barbara wants to know everything. Sheba reveals to her the first time he caught his attention was when he removed his shirt. He dedicated that goal to her. Few days later, Stephen came to see her after class, showing her his drawings. Those were drawings of Sheba. She then offered to teach him after class, and was excited to have found someone who really wanted to learn. Then one day, he got close to her and she told him to go home. Barbara says that's when you should have stopped it. But Sheba did, but he kept coming back. He followed her everywhere and tells her how beautiful she is. Sheba was so conflicted and knew it was wrong, but then allowed it to happen. Sheba keeps talking, saying that after all those years of good marriage, the husband, taking care of her children, maybe she earned the right to be bad, she deserved it. Then one day, Stephen leaves her a note saying, "Meet me at 8 p.m. tonight." That night she hesitated as her husband was laughing with the kids. But then joined Stephen. And they got into action. After the action, Stephen asks to smoke. She says, "Do whatever you want." They get some beer. Sheba seems so happy. Stephen asks to meet again. She says yes, she wants to do it again. Barbara keeps hearing all of this. She asks her when we met. Did it already start? Sheba replies that yes, that fight where Stephen was standing up for her. Later that day they got into action in one of the rooms of the school. Barbara is shocked as she thought they were good friends, but Sheba says she really wanted to confess it to her, but how could she? It's so sensitive. It would have put Barbara in a tricky situation. Barbara then says in her head that maybe there is a great opportunity here. With keeping this secret, she can have Sheba indebted to her forever. She could get everything by nothing, as she says to herself. Sheba gets some drinks and tells Barbara that she knows Barbara needs to tell the school, so she begs her to wait until the new year. She begs her as she wants to have this Christmas with her family. Barbara then replies, "I'm not going to report you. I want to help you and support you through this." Sheba is in disbelief and is so relieved as tears come out. She thinks maybe she should resign. Barbara says to stay at the school, but this relationship with Stephen needs to end. Barbara makes her promise her. Little bit later, Sheba hugs Barbara, thanking her so much. Barbara then gets in her car and says to herself that Sheba and her are having a deep bond now, that no one can violate our magnificent complicity. At home, Richard is surprised she is out so late, but she says she was with Barbara. Richard tells her that their daughter had a breakup, which she goes to check on, and comfort her. Days later, Barbara is in her thoughts while at a gathering. On the other side, Sheba and her huge family are having lunch when her phone beeps. She realizes it's a text from Stephen wishing her Merry Christmas. She is shocked. Later that night, she hears her mom talking bad about her. The next morning she gets the garbage out when Stephen surprises her. She is shocked as it is in front of her house and her huge family is inside. With this unexpected visit, the movie is about to go to a place no one predicted, especially with the crazy obsession of Barbara towards Sheba. Don't miss the insane part 2 attached here. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and check our other movies summaries.